Welcome to Family Business with Daphne. I'm so happy to be speaking with you today. You know, the number one question I get asked a lot, which is today's show, is how in the world, girl, it's usually like that, there's a girl in there, are you getting all of this press coverage? What are you doing to get national and international media attention? Well, I'm going to talk about that today because really, publicity is my number one key strategy. And so we're going to dive in because if you can ever master publicity, you will do well for your business. And I'm actually going to be talking about this at the Bridge Conference that's going to be taking place November here in Twin Falls, Idaho. And definitely hit me up on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on my website, daphnemallory.org. And I'd be happy to share the details with you. And I'm going to talk more in depth at that conference about publicity. But for today's show, I want to touch upon it because it's so important. But before I get into that, let me make sure you know how you can find me online. Again, my Facebook page where you can like me, and that's daphne.mallory.esq. Make sure it's daphne.mallory.esq. And you can find me there on Facebook. Like my page, and you'll get all of my articles, radio broadcasts. I'm often interviewed by others, so I post everything in that central place. But also make sure you go to my website, daphnemallory.org. That is my foundation. Just launched it this summer. And the goal of that foundation, I've got several priorities, but really, number one, first and foremost, I want to honor senior citizens in communities, not just in my own community, but around the world. So I want to help fund projects that are making sure that seniors can age well in place and be happy and have a quality of life and live to their fullest. It's not like a age in life where you should stop living to your fullest self and honoring who you are. No. So why are we allowing that to happen with our senior citizens? And then also, I'm working on launching a project at an elementary school here, initially, Harrison Elementary School, where we're going to be providing programs and services and mentoring and support to elementary students to start to develop that college mindset from the third grade on throughout high school. And then our promise to them is that when they graduate, we will step in and pay for their tuition so they don't have to worry about that. And so obviously we are helping economically disadvantaged students reach their college dreams. So if you want to join me in any of these efforts, in any of these projects, behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, become my angel investor, make sure you go to daphnemallory.org. I can use your help. And I really, really want to make the statement that ordinary people can join together, can collaborate, can pool together our resources, monetary and otherwise, to do good in the world. That's the big statement I also hope to make with my foundation. So make sure you join me in that effort. So let's talk about publicity. Well, speaking of which, many of you family business owners do have your own foundation, or you're dreaming about that, or you're sitting on nonprofit boards, or you're volunteering and serving others beyond your business. So whether it's publicity to promote your cause or it's publicity to grow your business, you need to know how to do publicity. Never leave that to someone else. Of course, you can delegate publicity to a PR agent if you can afford to do that at this stage in your business. Sure, if you can afford that, absolutely. That's one less thing that you need to worry about, right? So you can concentrate on other key aspects of your business. But for those of you who are still in startup mode, or you're still not at that place yet where you could really spend thousands a month on a PR agent, you need to know how to do this yourself. I think you need to know how to do it far above and beyond how to do Facebook or how to do Twitter, because there's something about you appearing in the news. What if someone could turn on television and see you being interviewed by a news anchor, by a talk show host. Come on. Would that not make a difference in your business? Would that not change the perception of your customer base, your clients, of who you are and who they're dealing with? Doesn't that it might be unfair, but doesn't it really immediately kind of engender trust? Wow, the television people, the TV folks are interviewing this person, this family business owner. They must be real. They must be successful. They must be doing well. They must have something of value to offer because they're on TV. Come on, we still live in a TV generation. Even if we get our quote unquote TV online through streaming services, free or paid, we are still visual people. And the people that tend to win in business also excel at visual storytelling, whether that's through television appearances, like I said, news media or traditional media, or YouTube media, if you will, right? Creating their own videos and definitely coming online creating your own videos, and so that you're establishing your own presence, etc., that way. So these are all ways that you can generate publicity for yourself and your business. These are all reasons why you should be doing that. And today, I'm kind of going to give you like a sneak preview of this talk that I'm going to be giving at a nonprofit conference. And so you want to make sure you can attend in Idaho. But let me give you some tips here today because it's so important. It really is my top strategy for growing my business. So let's begin. Why are you newsworthy? Why should anyone in the news media bother? Now, on a daily basis, I get lots of pitches. I used to hear people like Sherry Salata, who is the president of Oprah Winfrey's own organization, talk about how she would get 500 emails a day. And I was like, whoa, that's a lot of emails. Little old me, Daphne, I would say I'm trekking at about 150 to 200 emails per day. And a good portion of those emails are publicity representatives. These are PR agents hired by businesses of all sorts who are trying to pitch me to interview their client for an article. Why? I write for Entrepreneur Magazine. I write for the Huffington Post. I write for Idaho Family Magazine, Times News Magic Valley. And so I have all of these media outlets that people do want to be a part of. Why? Because publicity will grow your business. Here's some of the testimonials I've been getting from people after I've written about them. First and foremost, I really don't consider who you are when I'm writing the article. What I'm considering when I'm writing any of my columns or articles or features is, wow, what value can this person bring to the reader? What is the takeaway that person will get after reading this article? And so when I get thank yous back, it's great. It's just icing on the cake. But they do come back and they say, Daphne, thank you so much. That was a great article. Did you know your article got me a board seat? Did you know your article closed a deal for me that otherwise would not have closed? Did you know your article opened a door? And I'm like, wow, thanks so much. I mean, that's just a great comeback for everything you provided in opening your heart, your business to the readers. So it was a great win-win for all involved. But yeah, I get those people coming back saying your article did this. Why? Because publicity opens doors. It brings results. And that's why I get pitched, just little old me, so often. So how do you grow your business through publicity? So number one, you have to be really clear about the story that you're going to pitch. And I'm using that ugly sales word, pitch, to the media. Guess what? I know that you love when I say this every week. But selling is the number one skill you'll need to learn as an entrepreneur. It's not marketing. It's not social media marketing. It's not, sending out information here or there, hoping that something bites. No, it's wearing and embracing the I am a sales professional hat. I sell for a living. Say it with me. Breathe in. I sell for a living. I sell ideas. I sell products. I sell services. I sell television shows. I sell a new way of life. I sell, are you keeping up with the U.S. politics? For those of you, I have an international audience and you're keeping up with the campaigns. Okay. Well, I'm selling a new vision for America. I'm selling a new way, a new turn for this country, or I'm selling the old one, whatever. We are all selling. And when you approach the news media, you need to think and put your sales professional cap on. What am I selling to the media today? Well, what does the media want to buy? The media wants to buy 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes of your time that will lead to viewers staying tuned in. Why do they want the viewers to stay tuned in? Because they have promised on the back end to the sponsors and people that have bought commercial time, hey, we can deliver X amount of viewers during this time. So you have to help them, the news media, deliver on that promise to the people they've just sold advertisements to, that viewers will be tuning in because they have content and you are a part of that content. The worst thing a news media or media outlet wants is someone that will come on and be so boring and dead that viewers click, change that channel because they have just lost viewers. And so when that advertiser goes, how many people actually tuned in? Oh, not as much as you promised that we just paid all this money for. So do you see? It's all sales. So you have to bring a story to the media that makes them go, oh, yeah, people are so going to be riveted. They're going to stay tuned in. And you're like, okay, I'm a family business owner. I don't have anything exciting. I'm not a movie star. I'm not promoting the opening of a movie. How do I do that? Let's talk about that. What is your story? So, whatever your story is, it needs to tie into what's going on today. The news media is not going to have you on their show to talk about where you come from. You may get that opportunity, but who cares? Right now, there's lots going on in the political world, right? Can your family business in any way, and I mean, you need to be imaginative here, folks. You need to have some creativity. You will go on, just Google me online, Daphne Mallory, and you will be amazed at the various types of stories that I've commented on or learned my expertise on that have absolutely nothing to do with my family business. Who cares? My end goal is coming into the press, into the media as an expert or lending my voice to something, period. If you have a story coming up on cheese, I will find a way to become an expert on cheese and connect it to my family business. Try me. I will do that. And that's the mindset you need to have. Forget about you for a second. What's happening currently today in the news and in the culture that you can tie yourself into, period. And the rest will follow. So let's talk about politics. There's a lot going on in politics. Is there an issue that you're passionate about? If you are an immigrant entrepreneur, hello, there's a lot of talk about immigration policy if you're in the U.S. And if you're in other places as well, how can you tie into American interest or anything America right now? Your comments on what's happening there in America, right? And tie it back to you. So, okay, immigration policy, hot topic. Can you comment on it in such a way that you're not even political, but it gets you in the press? Can you talk about what it's like to be an immigrant entrepreneur, right? You pitch the news media. Hey, such and such person from this party has said this about immigration. I would like to share my story of how immigrants can positively contribute to the economy and, in fact, help to build it up, not destroy it. And let me tell you my backstory, how I've done that as an immigrant entrepreneur. Bam! Now, if you succeed with that, I want an email. You send it back to me and you let me know that it worked, okay? Because I love to hear success stories and testimonies. But I'm telling you, that will work on either side. What's another hot button topic? There's been some talks about, I don't know, teen pregnancy. I saw that recently. I'm trying to stay out of politics, to tell you the truth. I don't want to go crazy. But I think I caught wind of a debate and something came up about teen pregnancy. And let's say, I don't know, you're like a foods company, a family business who sells pizzas. And you're like, Daphne, how would we jump into this debate about teen pregnancy and promote our pizza franchise business? How does that work? Well, it may not work for the pizza you're selling, but do you have a personal story that's connected to this issue of teen pregnancy? Yourself, your family member. Can you describe or talk about yourself overcoming that or helping a family member to overcome that? That's what you go into the media for. And then, of course, how do people get introduced on TV? Welcoming Daphne Mallory of Family Business with Daphne Mallory, here to discuss teen pregnancy. Tell us your story. Blah, blah, blah. I start talking about teen pregnancy, right? And then, at the end, to learn more about Daphne, visit her at or thanks, Daphne, for stopping by the studio. Do you think people, if I sit down and make a personal, emotional connection, don't you think they'll Google me and try to find me? Oh, and then say, I loved what you said, or I hate what you said, whatever. Either way. And don't you think that that would benefit me as an entrepreneur down the road? That's what I'm talking about. You need to be imaginative. You need to open your mind and look for ways to jump into the conversation taking place in the media, however you can. I'll tell you another example. I got so much press conference for my commentary, my very eloquent commentary on Sesame Street's 45th birthday. I think it was 45th birthday, right? Sesame Street. Okay, why did I comment on Sesame Street? Well, first and foremost, I had something to say about it, period. And you'll just have to go online and find out what I said. But secondly, it was like, wow, this is a great publicity opportunity. I got covered from the U.S. to Japan on this story in every major media outlet, AP News, on CBS, on and on and on. This is what Daphne Mallory said about Sesame Street. Now, my statement was intriguing enough to invite people to Google me, to check me out, to be like, well, what is it? She said she was raised in a different country and was raised on Sesame Street. This is interesting. Let me go check her out. And then people Googled me and found me. That's the power of publicity, and that's a strategy of publicity. Jump in to the conversation. Connect personally or professionally. Either way. Another example, many of you know I'm from Liberia, and there was an amendment, a constitutional amendment to name Liberia as a Christian nation. Well, a reporter wanted to know my thoughts. I could have said, well, this is not my family business. Why would I comment on it? And I'm giving you these examples to really illustrate how important it is for you to be very, very, very open-minded. And so I gave my opinion about it. And you'll just have to go read what I said. But I gave my opinion about it. It has nothing to do with my family business, which is television and making television. But it was an opportunity for me to lend my voice, lend it in a smart way, add value to the conversation. And in doing so, people go, oh, well, I'm intrigued. It's like, bait. I want to learn more about this person. And they go check you out and they Google you. Now, I keep saying, and they Google you. and they Google you. I'm saying this for a reason. In order for your publicity campaign of any sort to work, you really have to build your online presence way beyond Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. A lot of entrepreneurs have been stuck in the social media realm for way too long and have completely discounted traditional media. Some people think, well, newspaper, this isn't a publishing industry dead? And so shouldn't I no one reads the paper? That is not true. People do read the paper, and you should have a presence in your local paper as well as national, as well as international. I've been covered by USA Today, on and on and on. You need to be covered everywhere. You need to just blow up your internet presence as far-reaching as possible so that when people go to look for you, they can immediately associate what it is that you're doing and who you are with credibility. As a journalist, I suppose I can now be called a journalist, right? An entrepreneur journalist. I go and Google people. When people send me a pitch and they say, oh, will you interview my client? I have some tricks up my sleeve from my days of being an attorney. I know how to do research on people. But I don't go to their Facebook page. I don't go to their Twitter, and I don't go to their LinkedIn to check them out. I go to Google and I implement various research tools to learn more about this person. Beyond their website, by the way. Way beyond their website. People will do the same for you. Reporters and editors will do the same thing. They're going to check you out. So you need a presence online. And the best way to establish credibility and a presence online is with, say it with me now, publicity, right? So you Google Daphne Mallory, you're going to see me in Times, Warner, USA, Black Enterprise, Essence, CBS, NBC, Fox, on and on and on and on. All of these things so that a reporter is quite comfortable going, oh, yeah, I can interview this person. They're not like in a hole somewhere and I've never heard of them. I see that they have an online presence online. They've been covered by other people, and it becomes a ripple effect. Women's Day I've been covered by, etc. And so what I'm doing on this show today, what I'll be doing further in my talk at the nonprofit conference, The Bridge in Idaho, and make sure you contact me to learn about that, is I really want to help you do that. And here's the big why. Here's the big why. I want your light to shine. Okay? As an entrepreneur, someday I need to write like a entrepreneur's commentary to the Bible or something. But this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine, hide it under a bushel. No. Well, that's what many of you all are doing. You're hiding your light under a bushel because you don't have publicity. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody knows what you're doing. No one knows your cause, what you stand for, because you're not putting it out there in the light. And that's publicity. It's not only one of the best sales tools you have, one of the best ways to grow your business. It's actually a duty and a responsibility. If you claim to have goods and services and ideas that will serve the world, that would improve the lives of others, then it is absolutely your responsibility. It is your duty. It is your call to get out there and get publicity, to let your light shine so that the rest of us can be inspired, can be aware, and can become encouraged about the work you're doing so that we can duplicate and replicate that in our community. Woo! So I'm going to let that hang. Just let that settle for a little bit. You're listening to Family Business with Daphne. Learn more on my website, daphnemallory.org, which also has my blog.
Everyday people do everyday things, but Ranger Station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yep, he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service Ad Council and your state forester.
Every single one of his medical bills, everything is just all taken care of.
We have phenomenal research, outstanding clinical care, and the generosity of public, which allow us to treat patients regardless of what it takes.
At St. Jude, families never receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because the only thing a family should worry about is helping their child live.
Because of you.
Gracias a ti. Because of you.
There is St. Jude.
Hi there. I'm Harry Connick Jr. Kids have a lot on their plates these days. It can be hard as parents to stop and think about how something like learning music now can help them in the future. Music helps kids because it's a performing art, and children need to learn to really perform well to succeed in society. Getting an 85% on a math test is pretty good, but hitting 85% of the right notes during a concert isn't good enough for most music students or their teachers. A special kind of practice and preparation goes into the discipline of performing music, and it helps kids perform better in all areas of their lives.
A PSA brought to you by the National Association for Music Education. March is Music in Our Schools Month.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the next 7 years of bigger and bigger enrollments, America's grade schools will need nearly 250,000 extra teachers, besides those to fill normal vacancies. This great need, plus the growing public interest in education and improvements in schools, make elementary school teaching a more rewarding career than ever, a career that high school and college students should certainly consider. Education holds America's future, perhaps your future.
A Ranger Station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yep, he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service Ad Council and your state forester.
Every single one of his medical bills, everything is just all taken care of.
We have phenomenal research, outstanding clinical care, and the generosity of public, which allow us to treat patients regardless of what it takes.
At St. Jude, families never receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because the only thing a family should worry about is helping their child live.
Because of you.
Gracias a ti. Because of you.
There is St. Jude.
Welcome back to Family Business with Daphne. So we're talking about publicity. Publicity. You can check out the show, by the way, on many of my platforms. I post this on Blog Talk Radio, on my YouTube channel. So if you like visual, check me out on YouTube as well. And it's such an honor to be a part of the 103.9 FM KI family. So make sure you tune in to 103.9. For those of you in Idaho, that's where we're broadcasting from. So support the station and check it out. Family business is so important. I really believe it's a key strategy for turning around communities. So since we are in, I guess, political season, if you are a politician / family business owner or entrepreneur or checking this out, I really encourage you to think about strengthening family businesses. Absolutely. I think it should be an important priority on anyone's legislative plate. And that's all I'm going to say about politics. Anyway, back to publicity. So the power of publicity It's amazing. It can grow your family business. You should not shy away from it. It can be difficult in the beginning stages. I'm not going to lie. It can be difficult. However, once you get that first 3 or 4, it really does become a ripple effect. People read it and then they contact you for a different story. Or as you're pitching, you just send links. I never send out a press release. Ever. I have never, ever used a press release. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't use a press release if you like to do things that way, but I am telling you there are more effective ways to get the media's attention. Number 1, links. So you say, instead of talking about yourself, blah, 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 in an email, you say, here are some stories that I've already been a part of. Link, link, link. Here are some examples of comments that I've made. Link, link, link. Here's a video explaining my story or position or product. Link. Links are powerful. Use them. But the problem, I know what you're saying. The problem is, well, how do you get those links in the first place, right? And so that's what this show is about today. So the first thing you should be doing is creating a media list. So we're trying to get out of the social media world. We're not going to ignore social media. We're not going to trash social media. We're just going to make it a second cousin, okay? Our priority will be traditional media, television, radio, newspapers, magazines. I mean, okay, which one would you prefer? Would you prefer someone to share your link on Facebook or a columnist from Oprah's magazine to cover your family business? Which would you take? Seriously, if you had the option, someone share my link on Facebook or, a half a page column in Oprah magazine by a reporter. I'm hoping you're saying the Oprah magazine, right? That would be far better, possibly, for your business. Not in all cases. I would say in most cases, right? So that's the power of traditional media. So you need your media list. So number 1, you need to think of newspapers, local, national, and international newspapers that fit you and your story. Note, I didn't say your family business. That fit you and your story. For instance, for me, being a Liberian girl, being a Liberian immigrant, I have a list of Black publications, a list of, immigrant, I guess, if you will, publications. I'm not quite sure how to say that any other way. I have a list of publications that cater to women because I am a woman. I can speak to women's issues. I was, for instance, covered by a business journal and they asked me about a divorce. And I gave my comments on divorce and how that would impact that family's business. And it was just all about women and women's issues. So I covered that. I've talked about pregnancies. I've talked about all sorts of issues related to women. So I've got a media list that covers women, one that covers Black entrepreneurs, Black people in general, international people. I've got a list of alumni magazines, right? I'm a graduate of Brown University. I've been covered in the Brown Alum magazine. I've got lists for UNC Chapel Hill Law School where I went, on and on and on. And then you want to create those lists centered around who you are and how people might very easily connect to your story. You might find magazine publications that are geared to the Christian market or geared to the, spirituality market or geared to whatever. Things that connect to you. Make that list. You want to do the same for news media. Okay? Think of all the news media outlets that make sense, that would fit who you are, not just your business. So just make a list of 1 to 50. Now, you could purchase these lists. I don't recommend it. I don't think you need to. However, I will say, yes, there are services out there that will charge you hundreds of dollars or maybe even thousands and to have access to their already neatly compiled media list. That's certainly an option. I've never done it. I don't recommend necessarily that you need to do it. I think you just start finding people on LinkedIn and finding people on their websites and finding people on social media. So you find a reporter at CNBC. You're like, wow, I could see myself in that show. And you go to their Facebook page, their Twitter account, and you follow them and then try to engage them. That could be one strategy. You contact their offices. That could be another strategy, on and on and on. So that's the way that you would do that. Now, that's that media list. News media, newspaper, magazine columns, radio. Do not discount radio. Radio is still powerful, especially if you are dealing with an international market, because people access radio online. There are people, that are engaged with this show, even though I'm locally broadcast here in Idaho, that are engaged on the other side of the world with this radio program. And the guests that I will have on in the near future, they will have this platform to talk about their family business that will go out throughout the world. So do not discount radio. Who are the radio people that you should be engaged with? Talk shows. That makes sense. What are the talk shows that would best fit who you are, right? Not just your business. But in addition to that, there's some music channels that might be a good fit for you to come on for 2-3 minutes. Did you know that? Check out your favorite DJ. What did they talk about? Did they have guests on in between playing the top 40? Did they have guests on? Well, how did those guests get on those shows, on these music programs? Would that be a platform for you? So I want you to make this list. I don't want you to edit the list, by the way. I don't want you to think, I will never get on this person's show. They're in Hollywood and I'm in Providence, Rhode Island, and I'm a nobody and I would never. No. I do not want you to edit your list. I want you to dream big and write your list. And then after that, you take incremental steps towards getting on those programs. I've been on a Catholic radio station. I've been interviewed on Christian radio. I've been interviewed on FM hard rock radio. I've been interviewed all over the place. Why? Because I believe I've got a good message for the world. I really, really do believe what I'm explaining to you all, that family business is powerful and wonderful. I'm also passionate about seniors and honoring elders. So I talk about that stuff too, on and on and on. So make sure that you do not box yourself in as you're making your media list. In addition to television stations and radios and newspapers and magazines, so you've got a huge list to compile. When I see you here next week, same time, same channel, I want your list. I want at least 20 outlets per category, 20 radio stations, 20 newspapers, 20 magazines, on and on and on. You need to show up next week with a list ready to go, because I cannot explain to you how intimidating this process is for so many that they stay away from publicity. They go and hide out in social media. Well, editors and news producers and producers want content. They're like, man, who can we interview? We need guests for this. We need guests for that, right? That can be you. So don't be intimidated. Get your list together. So once you've crafted your media list, now what, right? You've put together your list and you know your sources. Now you start pitching. That was pitching with a P. Pitching. Don't do the other way, because I've seen that, and I've got some horror stories where people have been like, they didn't get a same day response from me after they've pitched their business for me to promote, and they're like, rah, 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 rah. And I'm like, wow, I feel so inspired to cover your business now. Not. So be very gentle and loving and kind as you reach out to the media. They are people too. They've got children, they've got lives, things come up. And so you want to be very professional when you're approaching the media. But let's say you've got your list. So what do you do now? What happens next? Now you start contacting them, and you want to be relevant. Find out what they're talking about, what's coming up, what's current, and how can you add to the conversation. Now, one strategy that I have learned about from Jill Lublin, she teaches that one way to organize your publicity campaign is to lay out the months of the year, right? January through December. Figure out the major holidays and events of the month. And then try to tie in your publicity strategy to that event. So we're in August, and August in the States can be a huge back to school month, right? For August. You need to be all over everything that is ever and ever will be back to school in the media. Back to school, leadership strategies for entering college, how to excel the next year of your schooling, how to employ emotional intelligence, how to organize your personal finances this school year, how, on and on and on and on. You need to generate like 20 ways to jump into the back to school conversation. Top 10 most needed supplies for any returning student. And if you are selling a product, then one of those products, one of those top 10 lists would be your product, right? You don't want it to be all about you, because then the reporter sniffs out, oh, this is like advertising and I don't need that. You want to make it relevant to the viewer and add value to the conversation. And implied in that would be your opportunity, of course, to promote yourself. Everyone gets that. But you don't want to go in advertising yourself. When I've interviewed some people behind the scenes for my columns, they, start going into this whole like advertising pitch. I don't need that. I've read your website. I've read your brochure. I've read your pitch. I want to know about you, your thoughts, your story. Reporters, that's what we want. We want to know about you. What can you add to the conversation? What value can you bring to the reader, to the viewer? So, August, major back to school event you should be jumping in. And you just go down the line. What happens in September? What happens in October? July. Okay, so in the States, we had Independence Day, right? So for those of you who have anything that can be connected to independence in any way should have jumped into all conversations about Independence Day. How to live independently if you serve seniors, if your business does that, right? How to gain your own independence if you're in the financial sector. How to become independent of ego if you're in the spiritual market. I mean, just anything independent, all things independent. You need to be figuring out how to tie your business and your story into the conversation. So lay out the months, figure out the major holidays that are celebrated, because guess what? Reporters need content for that. November, Thanksgiving. What are you thankful for? And you come out with your most compelling story. I am thankful for overcoming breast cancer. That's not my story. I'm just thinking of other inspiring stories that I've read. And you talk about overcoming it, the struggles you face, the heart-wrenching moments, family, And that's why today I'm successful in business, because I take that same resilience into the business world and I'm able to achieve my dreams. You tie it in. December, what's December? I guess Christmas, right? It's the major holiday that comes to mind. And you tie your story into Christmas, even if you don't celebrate Christmas. I remember interviewing a lady recently, an immigrant entrepreneur. She sells baby crosses and huge business. And she's Jewish. And she talks about how she's entered the Christian market and has done so well. And we were just engaging about how she's able to do that. And that's not her practice. That's not her belief system. But she's so grateful and thankful to Christians because that's her market and that's who she sells to. And she ties stuff into Christmas and December. So that's how you do it. That's how you get the media's attention right away. Think of every single month. February, Valentine's Day, right? Love. Can love and family business mix? Ooh, you'd get the press all over that one. Your local press. I've done a story like that, right? For Entrepreneur Magazine about how to, still love your spouse and still be in family business. So that's just a very easy way to pitch the media, lay out the months of the year, tie it into what's going on in the culture. Holidays happen in the culture, obviously, and you tie your personal story into that. And that's how you'll get the media's attention. Now, for those of you who are faithful listeners, and I want to thank you for that, you will know that I issued a 30-day prospecting challenge not too long ago, where you were supposed to make 20 new contacts every single day for 5 days a week for 30 days, right? So you were supposed to write down 20 people that you were going to call, and you were going to engage in conversation with them. And you were going to do that so that at some point there'd be a follow-up conversation, ultimately leading to an opportunity where you would talk about what it is you do, what it is you're up to, what your projects are, and ultimately have some sort of sales process so that you could land a deal and a sale. So raise your hand. How many of you did that? 30 days, 5 days a week, 20 contacts a day. Because if you did that, I guarantee you your business grew. I would like you to call me, contact me, and say, yes, I did this faithfully, and I did not have one sale from that, Daphne. I dare you. Send me an email. I bet everyone's business grew if you did that consistently. And even if it was just one contract, that would be growth, people. That would be growth. So I now want you to do the same exact thing with the media. I don't want you to do 20. I want you to do 5. 5 media contacts a day. Add that to your list of 20. You're like, oh man, this woman is going to have me on the phone all day long. Do people still use the phone to contact people? If you're not using the phone as your primary strategy, you're missing an opportunity. Because when everyone's drowning in a sea of emails and direct messages and twittering, whatever the term would be, if you get on the phone and engage someone and they hear a voice, like human to human point of contact, an opportunity to connect, that's amazing. That goes a long way. They remember your voice. It leaves an imprint. I don't think Facebook leaves much of an imprint. So yes, I want you to call more people. I want you to call 5 more people every day now. And I want that to be media contacts. You can have 2 newspaper editors, 2 television producers, and 1 magazine contact. Or you could have all 5 newspapers for the day. I don't know. Maybe you do it week by week. All this week, I'm just going to hit the newspapers. And all next week, I'm just going to hit television news. And then all the following week, I'm just going to hit radio producers. Totally up to you. I'm the type that likes to, mix it up a little bit. And I want you to pitch. Pitch. I want you to get on the phone and say, hi, my name is Daphne Mallory. I noticed that you covered da-da-da-da-da recently. I enjoyed it. I would have added da-da-da-da-da to that story as a da-da-da-da-da. I find that da-da-da-da-da. Oh. Or, were you aware in that story you just covered that this other resource said da-da-da might make a great addition for a future story? Hey, if you need any help covering this topic in the future, please let me know. Happy to provide myself as an expert. Or, I noticed that October is blank month and you are planning to cover X. Just wanted to let you know that I am an immigrant and would love to share my experience on this issue and how I have found immigrant entrepreneurship in this country. Keep me in mind. If I could be of help, I'd love to be of help. See, help. I want to help. I want to be of help. I don't want to come in and advertise my business. I want to help you put on a great story. And the reward of putting on a great story, first and foremost, is helping the viewer, right? Adding and improving their lives. But the payback for me is that I am now able to make my community, my world aware that I exist, and they might want to check out my services. They might find that I have something good to offer, and they may then want to do business with me because people do business with people they know like, and trust. And when you are on TV, you pretty much have two knocked out of the way. You just get to get them to like you. Now, please do not actually get on TV and not become likable. That would be the worst. So you've gone through all of this. You've made the contacts. You've landed the segment or the brief interview or the stand-up shot, and you are not liked. Don't do that. Don't do that, okay? And maybe I'll talk a little bit about that in a few moments. But so that, yes, pitch 5 media contacts 5 days a week for 30 days. You will learn. I promise you, you'll learn. You'll grow. This is school. We'll call this business school, family business school. You'll learn your mistakes. You'll be like, I cannot believe I just said that. Or this person asked for a picture, and really, I don't have a picture since 1980. I need to go take a picture. Or this person asked me for this quote, and I stumbled during the call. I had no idea how to trim it down to 30 seconds. And they're like, oh, no, I do not want this person on TV going on and on for 5 minutes, so I can't do this interview. If anything, it just gives you an opportunity to practice at least. Now, please don't go practicing with NBC on your first contact, but maybe, try something local and see what the mistakes are. Where do you need to improve? Maybe you don't know your story. Maybe everything is just living in your head and swimming around there. And you're just so confident that if you were on the spot on live TV, it will come out. But what actually comes out is you get frozen. Let's take a moment. Don't get frozen on television. The way you avoid that is you practice. So if you will trust me that I'm not being evil or cruel to you by asking you to make 5 media contacts per day, that it really will benefit your business and your causes, because you should be, as a family business owner, developing your community, right? Improving the lives of others. You should be somewhere promoting a cause or two, right? You have to practice. You have to do this. It's consistency. That's how I get media coverage. And I make it a daily habit, a daily practice. I make sure that I'm getting covered. And you need to do the same. And at some point, all of these things will come together for you, because there'll be that next level bidder or that next level contract person, that person that can change your life and your business. And they're going to go, such and such a person just sent me an email or called my office. Let me go learn more about them. And they go to Google and they will see, wow, they've been covered by their state newspaper. They've been covered in this magazine, which I love, or this blog that I really enjoy. Now, don't pitch a blog. What I'm saying is that because you get covered in the news media, bloggers will also likewise then start picking up your articles and posting it there also. And then they go, this person has something. I'm curious. Let me contact them and have a conversation. That is the power of publicity. Or this foundation goes, there's some credibility here. Maybe we can invest in that project. That's the power of publicity. That's worth the pain, the pain of going through 5 media contacts a day. And maybe all of them say no on day 1 through 14. But then somewhere, maybe on day 16, one person starts to say, yes, of course. Come on. Okay. So you hang in there. So again, you've been listening to Family Business with Daphne Mallory. It's been my pleasure to spend this time with you. Contact me, share your success stories, and make sure you catch me here live each week, Tuesdays on 103.9 KDKI, and check out my website, daphnemallory.org, for my blog and other good information. And I'll see you here next time.
Every single one of his medical bills, everything is just all taken care of.
We have phenomenal research, outstanding clinical care, and the generosity of public, which allow us to treat patients regardless of what it takes.
At St. Jude, families never receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food because the only thing a family should worry about is helping their child live.
Because of you.
Gracias a ti. Because of you.
There is St. Jude.
Hi there. I'm Harry Connick Jr. Kids have a lot on their plates these days. It can be hard as parents to stop and think about how something like learning music now can help them in the future. Music helps kids because it's a performing art, and children need to learn to really perform well to succeed in society. Getting an 85% on a math test is pretty good, but hitting 85% of the right notes during a concert isn't good enough for most music students or their teachers. A special kind of practice and preparation goes into the discipline of performing music, and it helps kids perform better in all areas of their lives.
A PSA brought to you by the National Association for Music Education. March is Music in Our Schools Month.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the next 7 years of bigger and bigger enrollments, America's grade schools will need nearly 250,000 extra teachers, besides those to fill normal vacancies. This great need, plus the growing public interest in education and improvements in schools, make elementary school teaching a more rewarding career than ever, a career that high school and college students should certainly consider. Education holds America's future, perhaps your future.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out
Every single one of his medical bills.
USA Headline News. I'm Kelly Sloan. A group of hackers made millions by breaking into the computer systems of companies that publish news releases about mergers and acquisitions. According to an indictment unsealed today, the 5 defendants include 2 people who are Ukrainian computer hackers. The other 3 are securities traders, but 30 people were involved.
They are